Hi Leo, welcome to your love reading for this week. I hope you're doing well. Okay, let's just go ahead and see what is going on for you this week. So we have Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups, Death, Queen of Cups, the Sun, Two of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, the Empress, and the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so first impressions, you know, having just seen the cards and not really kind of tuned into anything, I kind of feel like for this week there are some decisions that you have to make. I feel like going into this week you are going through a rough patch. You're not in a good place emotionally. And I also feel, and I've said this to one of the other signs, that you may feel pulled in many different directions, like you can't really focus on your love life right now. But I feel like this week really is the time to kind of sort things out, whether you're single or married. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. We'll start with the top row, and it is the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, and Death. Okay, so Five of Pentacles, Five of Cups, those are challenging cards. I feel like going into the week, I feel like you're coming in with some issues probably from before. I feel like you may have recently, and this again, this has come up for other signs, you may have recently like separated from someone that you love. The Five of Cups has to do with sometimes a breakup, a divorce, and somebody's hurting. It's about emotional pain. It's a suit of water. Emotionally, you are suffering. There are tears and there is sadness. So I feel like for someone, like for some of you, you may have separated from someone before, and you're still coming into the week with this like really strong feeling of sadness. I even kind of get, you know, from the Five of Pentacles, for some of you, you're just coming into the week like, I know, with kind of low expectations with your, you know, regarding your love life. I feel like you may feel like you're not really connecting with other people. And all of these, you know, they're kind of challenging messages. But you know, the Death card, it says that this is a message of hope. This is telling you that this can come to an end. Death is about the death of certain things. And it is a major arcana. And I feel like everything can turn around for you with the Death card. The Death card just represents a huge transformation in your life. And you do have the Sun card, the heart of your reading. I always say that the middle card is the heart of the reading, and it really kind of sheds some light on all the other cards around it. So I feel like although you're coming into the week perhaps, you know, dealing with a breakup and you're still kind of healing from it, or you're just kind of feeling pessimistic about your love life, feeling low about yourself, there's an opportunity for a huge transformation. And for me, the Death card, it can mean the death of something, and it can mean that you finally release something and you let something go. But it could also be a huge transformation within you. It means that something changes within you and you're finally ready to move on. And if you look at the card, Death is actually on a horse, so it represents a movement. So it's like you're moving away from all the pain and the anguish from the other two cards. And then we have the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is about love. It's about nurturing. It's about forgiveness. I'm noticing, I've never noticed this before, and I've had this deck for quite some time, that she is sitting on a seashell. And to me, the seashells are associated with clairaudience, which is my strongest clair psychic ability. So I kind of feel like for some of you, there's a lot of guidance coming through about how to get past something that you're dealing with. The Queen of Cups also represents that your intuition is always accurate. This is trustworthy guidance. So I feel like you're receiving guidance that it's time for you to be happy, because the Sun is the next card. There is a guidance coming through to tell you to let go of the past, but you have a choice to make. You have the Two of Pentacles there, and to me that represents like, you know, a choice that you have to make. You have to decide between two things. And those two things may be, you know, it could even be two people, two relationships, or it could be that you have to choose between focusing on something painful from the past or choosing to let that go and be happy. But going back to the Queen of Cups, I feel, you know, she also represents being in a really good place emotionally, feeling at peace. It represents self-love and connection to spirit. So I feel like for some of you, there may be some type of spiritual shift. I feel like you're, you know, you might kind of feel like more drawn towards spirituality because they're trying to get you out of a difficult place. And then you have the Sun, which this represents a strong dose of positive energy. Optimism is what I'm hearing. So again, those who have been going through something difficult, something happens this week where you are uplifted. That's what I'm getting. You are uplifted. Someone's like a ray of sunshine comes into your life. And it is lined up here with the Empress. And she does represent love. She represents a happy home life and children. But I feel like, you know, someone may come into your life this week that is like a, you know, a ray of sunshine. You may have been in a dark place and you're uplifted, you're excited, and you are happy again. The Sun also represents success and fulfillment. So I feel like those who have been feeling like you have failed, either in a relationship or in your love life in general, the theme this week for you is going to be to set things right, to make you feel positive about yourself, to make you feel positive about relationships and love in general. And then let's move on to the Two of Pentacles. Like I said, I think this feels to me like possibly either a choice between two people, but I feel like it's also like a choice between like moving on or holding on, and that's just what's coming through, moving on or holding on, and you're the only one who can make this decision. And notice how it's lined up with the Death card, which, like I said, I feel like that means that's like a huge transformation within you, a huge transformation in your circumstances, in your love life. So I feel like you have a decision to make. But I also feel, you know, the Two of Pentacles, sometimes it represents instability. It means that in your life, you're not in a good place. And I feel for some of you, like you might be realizing this, you may feel that you may have clarity. You may kind of see that when it comes to your love life, you're having difficulty focusing on that because you're pulled into many other different directions. And some of that may be work. The Eight of Pentacles is here. That is the work card. It could be that your employment requires too much of your attention and you don't have time to devote to relationships or to a specific partner that you're with. But I feel like some of you, like you feel like you can't get out of this. You have the Eight of Swords down here, and the Eight of Swords does represent restriction, and it represents kind of feeling tied to something. Again, there is a choice to be made here. You feel like you're trapped in a situation where some of you may feel trapped in like, you know, in your other obligations, and you have a choice where maybe you have to rearrange your life to focus more on love. Because there is a strong message in this reading that this can be a very positive week for you. Huge transformations in your love life. But you have choices to make, and I feel like for some of you, you feel obligated to something or someone where you can't set yourself free. Again, there's a choice to be made. There is a lot of guidance from the Queen of Cups, and that guidance is telling you to kind of free yourself, because I see that you're not, whatever that you're doing, that's not working for you. Notice what's going down on the side of the reading, the Five of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Eight of Swords. That would mean that your intuition is telling you that a situation that you're in, whether it's a relationship or kind of the way you're thinking about the past, it's making you feel lonely. You know, the Five of Pentacles, to me, it's a lonely card. And even this depiction, it seems so lonely because everything's frozen over. There's nothing going on in that card. And then this is a card of confinement, restriction, and feeling trapped. But there is love and guidance right in the middle of this. But there's a lot of guidance to free yourself either from restricting people or situations, to focus on having your happiness, on getting those things that you deserve, on positive energy. And then, you know, you have the Empress, and she is lined up with the Sun, both major arcanas. And the Empress is telling you that you don't have to settle. Again, she is a dose of positive energy because she represents anything that is abundance. She represents marriage and children and a happy home life and good health and success. And I feel they're saying that you don't necessarily have to choose. I mean, I did say you have to make a choice here, but I feel like you don't have to choose at the risk of your own happiness, at the risk of your own peace of mind. They're saying that you can have it all, but I feel like for some of you, you may have to kind of change your approach to where your happiness and your self-esteem and your self-love are front and center. And then you will be able to heal relationships or attract the right relationship to you. Again, you know, these two cards, they represent, both of those cards represent marriage and they represent children. So for those of you that are kind of wondering, am I ever going to meet my life partner? Am I ever going to be a mother? Or, you know, are my partner and I ever going to make things permanent? It's here, you know, I see it in the cards. But I do see that there's a decision to be made, choices, and there's some work to do. You know, the Eight of Pentacles doesn't necessarily have to mean your 9-to-5 job, especially in a love reading. But it does represent, you know, that there's work to be doing, work to be done. It is a Suit of Pentacles, which could mean anything material, you know, which includes love. And I feel like for some of you, they're saying you have some work to do in your life, decisions to make in order to have, you know, the happy relationship, the marriage of the children, the stability, because I see all of that in this reading. But at the same time, I see like instability and I see suffering at the top of the reading with the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Cups. Some of you are coming into the week with some emotional pain, but there's this huge transformation that is just kind of waiting for you. Relationships, family, you know, self-love and intuition. But like I said, a choice and freeing yourself from anything that is restricting you from having this happiness and this stability. Okay, Leo, this has been your love reading. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will speak to you again soon.